You know what I regret, Caldecott?
The demise of the old-fashioned caddy.
But how the deuce did you know I was going to say that?
You always do, old boy, every time we approach the first tee. But I do see what you mean, though. You know what these things always remind me of?
Shopping at the nice-priced supermarket.
Well, actually, I've transferred my allegiance to more stores. Let it pass. Your usual 5, Charters?
What do you mean, my usual 5?
Well, I traditionally allow you 5 strokes over and above your handicap.
There's nothing traditional about that concession, Caldecott. You were kind enough to allow me 5 strokes when I sprained my wrist.
Better now, is it?
It still plays me up from time to time. Caldecott, before we tee off, shall we make a pact?
Omit the lake hole. Now, just because you always lose your ball, Charters...
I'm perfectly prepared to take my chance on the lake hole, Caldecott. I didn't mean that. I was going to suggest that as you seem a little on edge today...
I'm not on edge, Charters.
Caldecott, after the sum of our recent experiences, we are both on edge. Now, I'm about to propose that we put those wretched murders and all associated with them out of our minds for one day and concentrate on a relaxing round of golf.
I'll drink to that, Charters.
Good. I'll accept my usual 5 strokes, if that's all right by you.
That's only 2 over, Charters. I'm somewhat on form today. Good God!
What the blue blazes? 4! 4, I say!
Are you there? Wrong way!
The secretary shall hear of this, Caldecott. The man's a complete ignoramus.
This is what we get when we tout for business memberships, Charters. Commercial travelers whose natural habitat is a seaside putting green. 4!
Good morning to you.
What's the meaning of this, Venables? I could have done you a serious injury, man. You know that?
I had my eye on you, never fear. By the way, I advise a 3-iron from this tee.
Thank you, Venables. I've always driven off from the 3rd with my trusty number 2 wood.
That's all right, then. Even if you had hit the ball, you'd have sliced well clear of me.
Is this a social visit, Venables? You are interrupting a match, you know.
Ah, then you've started. Not just limbering up, then.
I should jolly well say not. I'll have you know I took the first in 6 against Charters' 9 and the second in 7 against his 14. And that's not counting the 5 strokes I give him.
Yes, Venables doesn't meet a blow-by-blow account of our game, Caldecott. I haven't played for some time on account of a sprained wrist. I'm just finding my form.
Then you won't mind starting again.
Starting again?
In a threesome. You see, my partner hasn't turned up and I've no one to play with.
But as a threesome, the rules say we must start at the 10.
I've no objection to starting from the 10, Caldecott.
Well, of course you haven't, because that way you miss out the lake hole. Besides, I always play better on the first 9.
I'm sure you'll run rings round us, Charters.
No. I'm Charters. Not far short of the green, I fancy.
Well done.
Shame you're landing in the rough like that, Caldecott. I'd advise discouraging your right shoulder from coming in with your drive.
Your friend Jock Beavers, by the way.
Yes?
I thought we'd agreed to give that topic a rest this morning.
If Venables has something to say, let him say it.
You'll be relieved to hear that he wasn't a Soviet spy after all. Not that he's been given an entirely clean bill of health. No, it appears that he was a considerable smuggler of Russian icons.
The old rascal.
Do you mind, Charters?
Oh, sorry, but I'm Caldecott, actually.
Do let us not chitter-chatter on the tee, Caldecott. Sorry, Venables.
More luck than judgment there, I'm afraid. Yes, one gathers Beavers was in league with a certain Colonel Pokrovsky in Moscow, if that name means anything to you.
It does, as a matter of fact. Jock often used to yarn about him.
Yes, his Russian opposite number when he was with the Control Commission in Berlin after the war. Best days of his life, he used to say.
They probably were. That must have been when they hatched this highly profitable scheme out. One doesn't know what Pokrovsky made out of it, but I gather your friend Beavers finished up with not far off a cool million.
But not a spy.
Not a spy.
That's very good news, Venables. Very good news indeed. Yeah, I always felt in my bones that Jock Beavers was incapable of treachery.
Yet you don't seem surprised that he was capable of icon running.
Oh, indeed not. He always had a weakness for that type of exploit, didn't he, Charles?
A distinct boy's own paper streak, I'd say.
Ah.
Left, Jubal, left! I was never a big reader of the boys' own paper. But I don't think their heroes usually made a practice of defrauding customs and excise while in the service of HMG, what?
So that accounts for his forged passport and false-bottomed Bible and all the rest of it.
Yes, I expect it does.
You haven't come across Colonel Beaver's daughter, Jenny, in your inquiries, have you, Venables?
Inquiries, my dear fellow? What inquiries?
You know very well, Venables. The inquiries that led to the conclusion that Jock was not a spy, but a smuggler.
Oh, that. Shall we say, it came to my notice. If one is allowed to make what you term an inquiry, however, I suppose you chaps know nothing about your friend's extramural activities over the years. That goes without saying.
Then why said?
What was that curious phrase in that note to you both from Beavers? Mix well and serve, was it?
How'd you come to know that?
Oh, it came...
To your notice, yes. Look here, Venables. I have a question to ask you. Just who the devil are you?
You know me, Caldecott? We belong to the same club.
I'm aware of that, Venables, and my name is Charters.
Well then, Venables, chairman of the wine committee.
MI5, I'd say, or MI6. Whatever cloak and dagger name they give themselves these days.
I don't think so, Caldecott. Otherwise, he'd have lost interest once it was established that Jock Beavers was never involved in spying activity. No, he's still got the bit between his teeth. Police Special Branch, that's my guess.
Is that promotion or demotion from official mourner at funerals?
Official mourner at funerals, my Aunt Fanny. No, excuse me, Mrs. Mottram.
But if he's heard of your mix well and serve conundrum, he must have got that from your chum Inspector Snow, mustn't he? So perhaps he is some kind of policeman.
Could be. Although he didn't rise to the bait when I mentioned Jenny Beavers, did he, Charters?
Venables isn't given to rising to bait. There's much of the basking shark in that man's makeup. Now, I know this, Caldecott. If we allow him to ply his seedy trade on the golf course, they'll be letting in double glazing touts next. Now, I shall write to the secretary.
In the strongest terms. And now I suggest we mark our formal detachment from all these recent unpleasantnesses with a modest celebration.
Oh, goody, you going to get me drunk?
No, we're not going to get you drunk, my girl. We are taking you to the pictures.
We thought that thing at the local classic. It is in English.
Oh, yippee.
Come on, Watson. Get your bonnet on, or would you rather spend the next couple of hours sipping cold tea and endlessly chewing over a case that no longer concerns us?
I wouldn't mind if it was cold gin. But you're right. Unless the fake Jenny Beavers turns up on my doorstep and returns my best pigskin suitcase, I never want to hear from that little cuckoo in the nest again. I'll just go and powder my nose. Milkman wanting his money.
You realize we've seen this film before, of course.
Yes, when it first came out. 1962, wasn't it?
Even earlier than that. It was the year school thrashed Harrow.
Oh, no, that was 1959. The year Winchester thrashed school. 1962.
Mr. Charters?
Well, I'm blown. Did Grimes tell you you'll probably find us here? I'll skin that little weasel alive.
There is such a thing as unwarranted intrusion, you know, Inspector. First you hound us in our club, now you gate-crash this lady's tea party. You don't have to receive him in your drawing room, you know, my dear. He can just as easily conduct this interview in the kitchen.
It wouldn't be the first time. Don't worry, Mrs. Mottram. It won't take a minute.
Yes, but we don't happen to have a minute at our disposal. We're just off to the pictures.
Nobody's stopping you, Mr. Caldecott.
Good. Eh?
It's Mrs. Mottram I've come to see. Just an informal word, Mrs. Mottram.
With me? Why?
Mrs. Mottram knows nothing whatever about this business, Inspector.
Except that you've told her, hmm?
We're old friends. We discussed the case naturally.
Including the fact that the dead girl, originally supposed to be Jenny Beavers, turns out to be a Helen Appleyard from Hong Kong.
That much was in the papers.
Married to Mr. Josh Darrell's chauffeur, likewise found dead on the one weekend when all three of you happened to be staying at Mr. Darrell's place in the country.
That's right.
Why?
Why was he killed? I don't know, Inspector. I'm not a detective.
No, I don't mean why was he killed. I mean, why were you there?
Like the other 20 or 30 guests, I was invited. I do a lot of business with Mr. Darrell.
Yes, but these two don't.
These two?
They don't even know him.
If you really want to know, Josh Darrell is an incurable lecher. I couldn't turn down his invitation. I need the business, but I asked Mr. Caldecott and Mr. Charters to come along as my, well, minders, I suppose.
No question of the three of you having gone to Mr. Darrell's to see what you could find out.
About what, Inspector?
About why the murdered wife of his chauffeur was being passed off as the daughter of your old friend, Colonel Beavers.
But until you told us otherwise, we didn't know that she wasn't Miss Beavers.
Didn't you, Mr. Caldecott? No. I'll tell you why I ask. It's just that it transpires that when she slipped Grimes £100 to let her into your flat.
A measly 100? He told me 250.
Yes, well, he would tell you that. It puts him in a better light. But you see, she never claimed to be Jenny Beavers at all, whereas a different young lady who called at Viceroy Mansions asking for you did claim to be Jenny Beavers.
Really?
Really? As you know.
How do I know?
Grimes told you, as he told me eventually, and you advised him to keep his trap shut.
Oh, I advised Grimes to keep his trap shut because he changes his story from one minute to the next. He'll do anything to get himself off the hook.
Notoriously unreliable witness, friend Grimes, Inspector.
Yes. There's a lot of it about, Mr. Charters. Now, I won't keep you, Mrs. Mottram. I'm interested in this girl who's been staying with you.
Can I get you a clean cup, Inspector?
Not for me, thanks, no.
Oh. Well, then, thank you for clearing up the tea things.
I do it automatically. It drives my wife balmy. I don't know why. Now, you know the girl I'm talking about, Mrs. Mottram, the young lady who's been seen coming and going, usually in a grey suit until Friday when she left, with a pigskin suitcase.
There are girls coming and going all the time, Inspector. I run a temps bureau. I prefer to interview the new recruits here where it's quiet rather than in my office with the telephones going like Bow Bells.
And do they all have pigskin suitcases?
If it was Friday, it wasn't so very unusual. The kind of girls I employ usually go away for the weekend.
And they usually wear grey suits.
Practically their uniform this season. Sloane Rangers, you know, like peas in a pod.
And I expect, if it came to it, you could produce the very girl who was seen leaving here with a suitcase at 3:15 on Friday.
Well, I haven't got my diary here, but I expect I could if it came to it. But you're chasing a red herring, Inspector.
I am that, Mrs. Mottram. And when I catch it, I shall have it kippered for breakfast.
Now, you guarantee there's no eagle-eyed detective in this?
Firm promise. Boggle-eyed butler, yes. Eagle-eyed detective, no.
Thank you.
That's right.
Is it? Lord.
He's on to us, you know.
Evidently, Grimes appears to have blown the gaff. But he isn't on to the murderer. And so long as we keep from under Inspector Snow's feet, that will remain his main preoccupation. Excuse me.
Ah, good show, Charters.
1 chocolate chip, 1 raspberry ripple.
How kind. Let me...
No.
Thank you.
We'll settle up later.
I know you're the eternal optimist, Caldecott. But you can't seriously imagine the Inspector isn't going to bother us again.
Well, I'm sure he is. All the more important why we shouldn't bother him. Keep out of his hair and don't concern ourselves with other people's murders. This is raspberry ripple. I couldn't agree with you more on both points. A, I've said all along we should leave it to the police. And B, I just said it was raspberry ripple.
I must say, I haven't quite the appetite I had.
You don't want your chocolate chip? Why not swap it for my raspberry ripple?
My appetite for playing Sherlock Holmes, fool. I do wish we'd crack that Mixwell and Serve conundrum.
I shall one day, given peace of mind to concentrate. I'm convinced Jock Beavers wanted to tell us something or lead us somewhere. Anything wrong with that raspberry ripple, old chap?
I'm sure it's an excellent raspberry ripple, old chap. I asked for a strawberry ripple.
You asked for a raspberry ripple.
I hate raspberries. I've always hated raspberries, as you know.
Yes, I do know. That's why I was quite surprised when you asked for a raspberry ripple.
Strawberry ripple.
Raspberry ripple.
Shh.
Misheard me. My hearing is perfect. You asked for a raspberry ripple.
Quiet. The natives are getting restless.
And that's something else I'm not mistaken about, Caldecott. This film was made in 1959.
How do you claim to know that?
It's there in black and white, man. Copyright 1959.
It was 1959, old chap. To me, it's just a bunch of letters. M, X, something like that. Like mixomatosis.
No. M, CM, L, IXM, that's 1,000, CM, 900, L, 50, and then IX. Good God. I've licked it, Caldecott.
Your raspberry ripple, I told you it was foul.
M-I-X, Caldecott. Mix well and serve. Come along. You too. Excuse me. Go. Oh, excuse me.
What makes you think I'm so interested in Don Starling?
I haven't licked it.
Fast enough for you. The last 3 days was to cost you a fortune. When you put a man inside, you're interested when he gets himself out.
You two go on up. I won't be a ticket. Grimes.
Oh, it's you, Mr. Caldecott. Only I was just straightening out my shelf style of thing.
I thought you couldn't bend. On account of that slipped disc of yours that compels you to take 3 afternoons a week off at your osteopath.
Been told to exercise it, sir. Only it seizes up otherwise. See, your spinal cord, Mr. Caldecott, is like kind of a set of
It's never mind my spinal cord, Grimes. You've been blabbing to Inspector Snow, haven't you?
Been interviewed again. He's a crafty devil, though, isn't he, Mr. Caldecott? I mean, the way he wriggles things out of you, you know what you said till after you said it style of thing? Oh, he's clever. Oh, he is.
Well, at least I hope you've now told the sordid truth about why you let the late Helen Appleyard into my flat.
Oh, I have, sir.
That it was nothing to do with incriminating letters, and all to do with a great dirty fistful of fivers.
I was tempted and I fell. I freely admit it.
What did you do with that money, Grimes?
Put it to good use, sir. That's why I wanted it. Why I was tempted. It's gone to pay for a week in Lourdes.
Lourdes?
Like a pilgrimage.
For a slipped disc?
Worth a try, Mr. Caldecott. Faith can move mountains, so they say. So you never know, sir. That grubby £250 might do some good in this world after all.
Yes, but it wasn't 250, was it, Grimes? You let that woman into my flat for a piddling 100.
Oh, is that what the inspector told you, sir?
That's what the inspector told me, Grimes.
See, what it was, Mr. Caldecott, she wouldn't go any higher. Said she had no more on her. And, of course, there was no way she was going to give me a cheque, otherwise I would have held out for more.
Does you credit.
Thank you, sir.
But since your 250 quid trip to Lourdes turns out to be a total fiction, I'll ask you again, what did you do with the money?
Put it down on a deposit to a pilgrimage to Lourdes.
Then it was in a good cause after all.
Only trouble is, sir, if I don't come up with the other 150 before the end of the week...
Grimes?
Yes, sir.
Are you about to ask me for £150?
Only as a loan style of thing, Mr. Caldecott. I mean to say, there's a lot has to be done around Viceroy Mansions, and I can't give complete satisfaction if I'm a martyr to a slipped disc now, can I?
No, indeed, Grimes. What would give complete satisfaction if you were a martyr to rigor mortis? Do you know what that cheeky blighter Grimes has just had the nerve to tell me?
Never mind that, Caldecott. Come over here. I've taken the liberty of unearthing your magnifying glass.
And I've taken the liberty of unearthing your gin.
Now then, look at this.
Jock's letter, no doubt by heart, old man.
Yes, but do you? Look again. Concentrate on the cryptic phrase, mix well and serve. Now, we've established what mix indicates.
Have we? When?
In the cinema, Caldecott. Why do you suppose we came rushing out?
Think of a number.
Number? Ah, myxomatosis, those Roman numerals.
Exactly. Mix. M-I-X. 1009.
I say, that's clever. 1009. That's damned ingenious. 1009 what?
That's what we're trying to work out, Ducky. We've cracked the first word. Now, what about the second?
Well, W-E-double-L. What's that in Roman numerals?
It isn't anything in Roman numerals, Caldecott, but it isn't W-E-double-L either. See?
Oh, I'm with you, Charters. There's a sort of curly bit at the end of the word.
What we call an S.
Precisely. It isn't well. It's Wells.
Wells, 1009 Wells. Which Wells? Oil wells?
Or perhaps Wells the place, as in Bathend. But he didn't come from that part of the world, did he?
No. He was a Kentish man.
Man of Kent, actually. A little place called Yabble.
Where?
Well, after the river of that name.
Where he meant to retire. Be that as it may, Wells. What other sort of wells are there?
Water wells.
H.G.
Smart thinking, Caldecott.
His fellow man of Kent.
Or Kentish man. H.G. Wells, Jock's favourite author. The Time Machine, War of the Worlds, Tono Bungay. Never tired of reading them. H.G. Wells, that must be it. Some reference, an allusion. Something he'd expect us both to pick up on.
A page number, perhaps.
Page 1009. Have to be a pretty thick volume.
He wrote some pretty thick volumes. The History of the World, to name but one.
No, I'm not familiar with the history of the world.
Oh, it's riveting. Lots of kings and queens.
Here we are. House prize for the best kept study. The collected comic novels of H.G. Wells. I bagged it in my last year. Only prize I ever did get.
And Jock Beavers the year before. Give that here, Caldecott.
I am quite capable of looking up page 1009, Charters. Kipps, Mr. Polly. Oh.
Beelby.
What?
Not one of the more memorable H.G. Wells comic tales. 1009 is the title page. Beelby, that's all it says.
Yabble.
No, Beelby.
Yabble? Oh, I see, it's an anagram. Well, where did I hear that name recently?
I mentioned it not a moment ago.
Jock's home village, where he meant to retire.
The Foxy Blighter! He must be telling us to go there.
Well, of course he is. Mix Wells. Proceed to Yabble.
And serve?
Would you mind? Thanks awfully. I say, that Rambler's map isn't very good. Are you heading for anywhere in particular? The point I'm making is this. There are a good many trespassing opportunities in these parts. I'd advise you to get our little guidebook from the post office stores. We'll keep you on the straight and narrow. Sorry,
I say, Caldecott, I believe I found what we're looking for. Already? Almost definitely. See here. If I take this 412 cross-country bus to Sevenoaks, there's a connecting bus through to Reigate that should drop me practically at my door. It'll save my returning to town and you and Mrs. Mottram making a tiresome detour to Victoria Coach Station.
I'm glad we've got your travel arrangements sorted out, Charters. And now, if you're not too pressed for time, perhaps we can start our inquiries.
No need to take that turn, Elcher.
There's not much of riveting interest in here unless you're keen on farmhouse cream teas.
Alas, I have to catch the 412 to Sevenoaks.
None of the Beavers family extant, apparently, but Mrs. Post Office Store says there are beavers without number in the parish churchyard, so I suggest we start with the vicar.
Ah, not the village pub.
Or the village pub. But don't let me drink more than 2 real gins or I'll be in no fit state to drive back to...
What is it, Margaret?
You mean, who is it? That girl over there.
No, can't make her out.
It isn't. It isn't Jenny Beavers, surely.
No, it isn't. But it's the girl who's been passing herself off as Jenny Beavers. And before you two start putting her through the 3rd degree, I want to know what she's done with my best pigskin suitcase.
Oh, blast, she's seen us. She's turning back, Charters.
Yes, I'm not totally blind, Caldecott. What the devil is she doing here?
Same as what we're doing here when we find out what that is.
Little point in giving chase, I suppose.
You can rule me out, I'm afraid. My running and jumping days are over.
And it's going back a bit since I won the girls' 100-yard sprint. But I'm going after her. I'll find you around the village.
Oh, Margaret, be careful.
Wasn't I always?
Pennyford, old chap.
Oh, I was just wishing.
Yes?
We could see a spot of village cricket on this splendid green.
I do beg your pardon. I don't know what you think of this unwarrantable intrusion.
He can never resist a church organ. You see, they won't let him play in his own parish.
Really? It's not that they won't let me play. They've a competent enough organist already. I should have asked your permission, Vicar, but I wouldn't like you to think that I don't know how to handle the instrument. It will have come to no grief under my hands, I can assure you.
He did organ studies at school.
I know, to get out of rugger.
Yes, well, you see, I was always a soccer man at my prep school.
I've been expecting you. My name's Lamb. Appropriately enough, I suppose, considering my trade. Follow me, would you? Wonder when you'd get here.
Thanks to Jock's fondness for confounded conundrums, it was only by a fluke that we did.
I wouldn't say that, Caldecott. Applied logic. That's what got us here.
I wish you'd applied it earlier. I'd like to get this business off my hands.
Lamb, that name rings a bell.
It's more than this rope ever will. That's old Tom, pensioned off with a crack a yard long.
Weren't you with Jock in post-war Berlin?
Yes, I was his padre. He got me my living here. So all this tomfoolery is by way of repaying him the favour. Oh, this was his idea, not mine. He'd remembered hiding something up there when he was a choir boy. Left to myself, I'd have kept this in the crypt safe.
As I've always said, a strong boy's own paper influence.
His last will and testament.
He didn't like lawyers, probably because he equated them with the law. But he'd got an idea in his head that if he'd shipped off the will directly to you with the other things, it would have gone missing.
There's certainly no shortage of suspicious characters trying to get their fists on Jock's effects.
I happened to be out there early this year for the Christian Missions Convention, so he placed it in my hands with endless instructions and admonitions.
I can imagine.
Together with this letter, addressed to both of you.
Oh, thank you. Hereby revoke all former wills and testamentary instruments, blah, blah, blah. Appoint Reverend Adam Lamb, sole executor. Cash sum to the steeple fund, etc., etc. Books to the school library. Billiard table to the Hong Kong Travellers Club. I say, Charters, he's left practically everything else to us.
How embarrassing.
I give and bequeath to my oldest friends, Hugo Lovelace Charters and Giles Caldecott.
Giles Evelyn Caldecott.
my remaining capital and investments.
Amounting to what?
Last time I looked at the city pages, something over £2 million.
I expected no more than his signed Kent County cricket bat. We can't possibly accept this bequest, of course.
Hold on, Charters, there's more. The said investments to be realized at their discretion to finance any expedition on which they may embark, and the proceeds from such expedition to be distributed as they think fit. What expedition?
How should I know?
Doesn't it say in that letter?
No, purely personal. Cricket reminiscences and so on.
Ah, now there's a thought. Perhaps Jock means us to do what we've always talked about and follow the English test team round Australia and New Zealand.
With over £2 million? Don't be absurd, old chap. Surely the exchange rate can't be as bad as that. Vicar, I know you're anxious to wash your hands of us, but until we've some idea of what it is Jock desires us
If
to
you
do...
were asking me to keep the will stuffed up my belfry, the answer is no. I want a shot of it.
You are his executor, after all.
Yes, but I've no wish to be his accessory. Look, I shall be in town tomorrow, if you like. If you're nervous of taking possession of all this stuff, I'll deposit it with your bank.
That should do admirably.
Good idea. Why?
Why? Well, isn't it obvious why? In case there are any more attempts to steal the will.
Oh, I see. Why would anyone wish to steal it?
Why should anyone wish to steal it? This is a very valuable document, old man.
Well, only to us, old man. Nothing anyone else can do with it.
Yes, well...
Except getting rid of it.
There, you see? But why should anyone... But I see a previous will.
A copy. The original vanished before he could destroy it.
Aha. Under this, you would have got the signed cricket bat, Charters.
That's more like it.
And I, his collection of scorecards and memorabilia.
You would have appreciated that.
And the bulk of his estate, had this will not been revoked, would have been divided between... guess who?
Oh, do get on with it, Caldecott.
My daughter, Jennifer Beavers, and my secretary and friend, Helen Appleyard.
What happened between Jock and Doctor then, do you know?
Oh, I never mentioned her. From the odd word dropped at the Hong Kong Travellers Club, I gather she got in with a bad lot. Drugs and all that. Playing the heavy father, he settled an allowance on her on condition that she cleared out of Hong Kong, never came back. She went to America, as you probably know, and then vanished.
It must have come as a nasty shock to you when you thought she'd been found dead at my flat.
Well, not entirely. He anticipated someone coming after the will, though he didn't spell out who, hence these elaborate precautions. So I wasn't altogether surprised at the bad penny turning up again as I thought. No.
But then the body in the case turned out to be a different bad penny. Did you meet Helen Appleyard before?
Very briefly. A great influence on Jenny, so I was told. A great influence on Jock, come to that. You know, the idiot nearly married her. Would have done, too, if he hadn't found her in bed with his driver.
Yet Jock continued to employ her as his secretary. Well, I find that baffling.
Gossip, old boy. You know what it's like in these far-flung English communities. We'd thrown her out bag and baggage. A bit like something out of Somerset Maugham. Isn't that so, Padre?
And, of course, she knew a good deal about Jenny, and probably his own affairs that he wasn't too keen to have broadcast. Wonder how she came by Jenny's identity.
Planted on her by an impostor posing as Jenny, who, as a matter of interest, is even now roaming this village.
Or so we believe. Our eyesight isn't what it was. If it is her, then of course she too is after the will.
She, among others. Well, Charters, can you fit an expedition into your crowded engagement book?
It depends entirely where he intends us to go. Could be the moon, for all I know.
No hints to you, Padre.
I didn't encourage him to tell me. It's probably something illegal, and I'm not of the branch that takes confessional.
You didn't like Jock very much, did you?
Let's say I disapproved of his activities, his wheeler-dealering.
Oh, Small beer.
£2 million?
Oh, that. Icon smuggling.
Russian icon?
Yeah, in cahoots with the fellow who's this Soviet opposite number in your Berlin days.
Huh. Colonel Pokrovsky. Bigger rogue as Beavers himself. I'm sure he must have told you the story of the ex-U-boat commander they interrogated over some currency racket or other.
Often. Chap who was supposed to have scuttled a submarine load of gold bullion and spilled the beans as to its whereabouts in exchange for their leaving the cell door open.
A romantic poppycock saving jocks, so. If all the German U-boats containing gold bullion were laid end to end... Caldecott, do you remember what that fellow St. Clair said to us in Helen Appleyard's flat, just as we were leaving?
Yes, I do. We're all chasing the same crock of gold, but this isn't the end of the rainbow.
This expedition, Caldecott, you don't suppose he intends us to find that gold?
Possible, knowing Jock.
Probably, I'd say.
But where are we supposed to look?
Well, there could be a map or a chart or something of the sort. Probably in that confounded trunk.
What about the place he bought for his retirement? Is any of his stuff there?
Oh, yes. Just as his sister left it when she died last year. Chock-a-block with wartime souvenirs and relics. You'll probably find enough to get him cashiered retrospectively. Key at the post office stores. There, I sent you. Oh, I shall want your bank details. Drop back for a glass of sherry.
Will do. Although I think we ought to find Margaret first. I'm getting rather worried.
Oh, never fear, Caldecott. Mrs. Mottram will find us at the first chink of the vicar's decanter.
Well, that's of no particular significance, Caldecott. Country folk are very lax in these matters.
Very lax.
Yes. Well, we know who's been here, do we not?
Fortunately, we also know that she hasn't found what she's looking for. Though what use Jock's will would be to her now that we know that she isn't the real Jenny Beavers, I can't readily fathom.
Yes, but do we know it, Caldecott?
We proved it, Charters. Why do you think she fled? Because the real Jenny would have recognized her own father, ex-mistress cum secretary.
Who's to say that she didn't recognize her and murder her?
Well, all right, then why should she go through the charade of changing places with her when simply by coming forward as herself, she could have inherited a fortune?
Ah, but you can see she doesn't stand to inherit a fortune unless the later will, leaving everything to us, is destroyed. I'll tell you why she changed places with Helen Appleyard, Caldecott. She was hoping to keep the dead girl's husband, Gregory, in the dark long enough for her to unearth the will unmolested. Easy enough then to resuscitate herself and claim the inheritance.
Well, not so easy if she really did murder Helen Appleyard.
Then perhaps she didn't.
But you just said she did.
Only on the assumption that she is, after all, the real Jenny Beaver.
But according to you, old chap, she is the real Jenny Beaver.
I said she could be. If you've any more plausible theory, Caldecott, I should be delighted to hear it.
I've no theories, Charters.
Very well, then.
I'm as foxed as you are.
I'm not foxed, Caldecott. I've just produced as rational an explanation of this entire case as you're ever likely to hear. If it seems to you flawed, I apologize.
I see, Charters.
What is it, Caldecott?
Jock's letter. You might let me see it. This is an odd sort of rigmarole, isn't it?
I don't think so.
Yes, but it is odd, Charters. All this stuff about school cricket.
Seems perfectly straightforward to
And what
me.
it says about half last year's averages being wrong, it can't be serious.
Never more so. The record, as set forth in Wisdom, doesn't reconcile with the analysis in the school yearbook. He wishes us to correct the error. What's so extraordinary about that?
Wisdom wrong? It's unheard of.
It isn't wisdom that's wrong, Caldecott. It's the school yearbook.
I see.
They'll have to send out gum derata slips.
Well, it is rather a mishmash, isn't it? For R.H.L. Johnson as captain and N. Orton, whose innings figures should be the same as Larkin's. Boyd Mason's average should be reversed with that of T.P. Cowling. I wonder if he's the grandson of Four Eyes Cowling.
Hardly likely, unless there's a cricketing strain on the boy's grandmother's side.
And Andy Weston's bowling average of 17.43 has been omitted altogether, and the number of runs scored off L.G. Palmer's bowling has given us 100 lower than the correct total. There's something wrong here.
There's a great deal wrong, Caldecott. I've never come across such slapdashery.
No, I wasn't talking about that. Johnson did stand down the school captain, having smashed his wrist. But the chap who took over wasn't called Orton or anything like it.
You're right, Caldecott. Name of a racecourse, that was it. Ascot.
Braintree.
Exactly.
As for this fellow with a 17.43 bowling average, I swear there was nobody of that name in last year's team.
Yes, who was that again?
Weston, A-N-D.
Orton and Weston. They sound like a couple of wireless comedians.
Are you sure they weren't? Those names positively don't appear in the school's fixtures list. There's something familiar about them. Orton and Weston.
N. Orton, A-N-D Weston. Norton, A-N-D Weston. Norton and Weston. Norton and West.
That lemonade factory in Oldham we keep hearing about.
This is another of Jock Beaver's teasers. That letter is in code, Caldecott. Give it here.
Oh, really, Charters? You might give a fellow a chance to...
By the way, I'm quite an authority on codes. Allow me. Now, gentlemen, I'm quite surprised at you to leave your old friend's home in such a state. It is not very nice, you know.
You dare suggest that we're responsible for this, St. Clair? More your line of country, I should have thought.
No, I should have been tidier.
How did you find this place, St. Clair, and what do you want here?
It is not very difficult to trace the addresses of prominent persons. I recommend the volume called Who's Who. And as to what I'm doing here, I think you know very well we are all looking for the same thing. The crock of gold.
Then you're out of luck, old chum. And this isn't the end of the rainbow either.
As to that, I think you are wrong. Can you follow the instructions in this letter?
No, it's complete double dutch.
Allow me to say I don't believe you.
Then you'll have to do the other thing, won't you?
Have you ever been shot, Mr. Caldecott? It is a very painful experience, by the way. However, let me go on to say that for me, violence is the method of last resort. I make you a proposal. Cooperate with me fully, and we shall share the gold 50-50.
You surely don't believe that El Dorado tale about a sunken U-boat, do you, St. Clair?
I say, careless talk, old chap. He may have less gen on the subject than he pretends.
The submarine was the city of Hamburg. The commander was Captain Kulner. The cargo was gold bullion, worth perhaps 20 millions of pounds at present values, destined for South America. Hamburg was intercepted by United States Anti-Submarine Patrol, 12th April 1945. Escaped, but was badly damaged and later scuttled. The crew were picked up by the Americans. Captain Kulner was repatriated after the war, but was subsequently arrested for illegally possessing a gold ingot.
Well, if you know so much about this saga, why don't you know where the U-boat is sunk?
Oh, my dear Caldecott, until only recently, no one knew where the U-boat was sunk. Captain Kulner is dead. Colonel Beavers and Colonel Pokrovsky had only half the information each.
How could that be possible?
And that was how the bargain was made. In exchange for Kulner's freedom, Beavers should have the latitudinal and Pokrovsky the longitudinal, so that neither could find the gold without the other. They made the arrangement that when they could afford a dredging operation, they would put the two pieces of information together, don't you know? Like the two halves of a banknote. But then Colonel Pokrovsky suddenly relinquished his half to Colonel Beavers.
Why?
Shall we say he was persuaded?
By whom?
By whom do you think, Caldecott? I believe now I know who you are, St. Clair, as you style yourself. I shall be very surprised if you're not the son of Captain Kulner.
But you see you are wrong. I am the son of Colonel Pokrovsky.
Nice try, Charters.
Near enough, I thought.
I used to do a lot of buying and selling in Moscow of a kind that was not quite legal.
Black market.
I was about to be arrested, and you know I should certainly have been executed. That's not very nice. We put the problem to Colonel Beavers, and he smuggled me out of the country.
And your old dad coughed up his half of the secret. Did you kill Colonel Beavers, St. Clair?
Now, why should I want to do that when he alone knew where the gold lay? No, on the contrary. I hoped he would live through his dotage, and then spill the beans. I was a great nuisance to him, I'm afraid.
Pestered him, I suppose, and after he saved your miserable life.
I wanted and still want no more than the Pokrovsky half of the gold. I have searched high and low for this document, which I knew must exist. I'm very grateful to you. Now you can do me one more favor and decipher the code.
Do it yourself, St. Clair.
By the way, I can be very persuasive. Which knee, Mr. Caldecott? You see, I give you a choice.
The little bitch gave me the slip, but I got a nice offer of a pre-lunch sheriff.
Either way, Mrs. Mottram, you are only just in time. The floor show is about to commence. Now, if you would just sit... Oh,
get the letter, Charters!
Shoot by all means, my dear Caldecott.
There goes our murderer, Caldecott.
Time to put Inspector Snow in the picture, I think. Where would you say is the nearest phone?
Same place as the free sherry.
Hello. Vicar, we were just on our way to see you. I wonder if we could use your telephone.
Sorry, I should think the line's going to be busy for some considerable time.
Any more theories, old chap?